this package will allow us to enforce our air defense systems and protect our kids and our families and our homes against Russian attacks every day.
Now then to our top story, and extra aid and weaponry could arrive in Ukraine within the next few days. That's after the US House of Representatives finally approved a $60 billion package of support.
On this vote, the ayes are 311 and the nays are 112. The bill is passed. Oh, one voting present. I missed it, but thank you. Okay. The House will be in order. The House will be in order.
Dramatic moments there. Well, the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has warned that his nation had no chance of defeating Russia without that package. Well, let's get reaction from Ukraine itself. I'm joined now by Yulia Klymenko, a Ukrainian MP from the Holos Party. Very good morning to you.
Good morning to you, and thank you for hosting me.
Well, thank you for coming on to talk about it. I want to get, first of all, your reaction to that vote, finally that vote in the House of Representatives. And I know you were watching it live on television when our producer spoke to you yesterday. How are you feeling about it? How did you feel then?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I think the whole Ukrainian nation followed very carefully this voting, because for us it's a matter of life or death, and it's not about money. 61 billion package will mostly go for buying a weapon to defeat and to fight for our sovereignty, as well as to protect our civilians' lives. You saw in the last few weeks we had a lot of missile strikes from Russia, which is destroying our civilian infrastructure. They also already destroyed approximately 80% of power heating and generation. So for Ukraine, it's as I said, it's a matter of life and death, not only on the front line, but also for civilians. And this package will allow us to enforce our air defense systems and protect our kids and our families and our homes against Russian attacks every day.
How quickly can that money be turned? I know that the money may arrive fairly quickly, or certainly large chunks of it, but how quickly can that be turned into those munitions and defensive systems you described there? Because it's not just about money, is it? A lot of it doesn't exist. It's still being manufactured, and a lot of it has already been used.
Yeah, but out of this 61 billion package, almost 49, it's a weapon which will come not as a money, but as a weapon from US and the other stocks in the world. So as I described, it will be air defense systems, rounds, I hope long-range missiles, which we can use also to destroy Russians' stocks, which they are using heavily against our territories, and etc., etc. So it will not be money; it will be a weapon, and weapon, as we know, will come like in a few weeks, which we need mostly. It's rounds and air defense systems. So I think these 2-3 weeks before it will arrive, I think we will have a very heavy fighting of Russians. They will try to do their best to move and to shell our civilian infrastructure, understanding that in a few weeks it will be almost impossible.
Do you think that the money, or does the money come with strings attached? We know that the Americans and others have voiced concerns about Ukrainian attacks on Russian territory, particularly on Russian oil fields. With that money, will Ukraine listen to those warnings from the United States?
I mean, we're listening for any warnings, but we have to understand that they're using, including oil manufacturing plants for the war. It's not about civilian infrastructure. They are using it. But in general, we are not using at all foreign weaponry to fight on Russian territories. Mostly we are producing ourselves drones and long-range drones, like 1,000 kilometers, so we can actually hit Russians' warehouses with weapons, etc., inside their territory, but not by foreign weapon. It's a Ukrainian-produced weapon.
Talking to analysts in the United States today, they describe a feeling, obviously, particularly amongst the Republicans, that this is it. This is the last of the money. Ukraine can't guarantee that, though. None of us can we? Because you can't guarantee how long this war is going to last.
Yeah, but we have to understand that U.S., as we all saw for past 6 months, is in a very heavy election campaign. So I think everything will depend on who will win and how will win in November this year. So up until that time, we will not understand the policies and the ideas of the new elected president. And it will be, mostly we are all Europe and Ukraine and UK waiting until the election results in US, understanding what will be the new policies.
Well, I mean, do you then, it's either going to be Biden or Trump. Do you fear a Trump presidency? Because we know what he thinks, and it's not just about Ukraine, it's about NATO and, of course, NATO's strong supporters of Ukraine. I mean, there's a possibility that the United States may pull out of NATO under Trump. Certainly direct funding for Ukraine could be under question.
Yes, sure. I think it will be questions not all around the world, with the Gaza war, with Ukrainian war, with the Taiwan. We have a lot of different, so to say, conflicts around the world. But in general, I think we, Europe, and you have to understand that we have to produce also our own weapon and see alternatives how we can defend ourselves. So only depending on US aid, it's not the way out. So we started to produce drones, rounds, etc. The same, I think Europe should realize that Europe, it's not a new alternative for NATO, but countries should be ready to protect themselves. Inside NATO or outside NATO, because what would happen and what happened with Ukraine, we had a Budapest memorandum which guaranteed us actually not attacking by Russia and protecting us from the war when we decided to give back our nuclear weapon, but this memorandum doesn't work. So we have a full-scale war, and we realize that we need to produce our own weapon and to protect ourselves. The same with, I think, Europe and UK and many other countries. They have to start thinking how they will fight inside NATO or without NATO.
And just lastly, on the possibility of a Trump presidency, does Ukraine see victory as being defined only as the complete withdrawal of Russia from all Ukrainian territory, including Crimea? Because we know that Donald Trump has said that he thinks he could bring about peace very, very quickly indeed because of his personal relationship with President Putin. That presumably, any settlement that Trump would push would presumably involve Ukraine ceding some territory, in particular Crimea.
Look, I don't believe in a simple decisions and simple solutions in the modern world, honestly. So all this kind of I will do it in 24 hours. It's a simple solution. Just give back Crimea and Donbass, and that Putin will not come further. No, we actually already in war for 10 years, starting 2014. And we didn't fight, as you remember, for Crimea and Donbass because Western partners said don't fight and Putin will not move further. So what instead we have, after 8 years of the not fighting for Crimea and Donbass, we actually experienced a full-scale invasion of Russia to the all other territories of Ukraine. So the same will be, I mean, if we'll start these negotiations about concessions, about let's Crimea be, neutral status, etc., it will result and end in another bloody war. So that's why all Ukrainians understanding for us, to defeat Russia, we need to push them out from our territory and have security guarantees, real one, not Budapest Memorandum, for many years. And that will protect us. Plus, we need to defend ourselves, produce our weapon, to have fortification on our borders, etc., etc. That's the outcome, should be the outcome for us, because otherwise we will have another round of a very bloody war again and again. We don't want to stay in war. We are a very peaceful nation.
Ms. Klymenko, it's been so very insightful talking to you. Thank you very much indeed for joining us on Times Radio Breakfast. That's Yulia Klymenko, a Ukrainian MP from the Holos Party.